All right. Mr. Franco?
Yeah, great. I'll stand just kind of over here. So, I mean, I think the good news with both groups, it looks like we all kind of had the same, the same themes. I mean, I think we've all recognized that in regards to land use in District 2, there are large swaths of land that we don't have a lot of control of with the federal government and such. So that limits a lot of the things we do. And then we have a lot of high density. And at the same time, we don't have a lot of the same resources that other areas of the county have, such as, Downs Park, Kinder Farm, Quiet Waters. If you live in West County, you have to either go to Howard County to go to a nice park like Blandair, or you're driving 30 minutes, into other parts. So, we talked a lot in our group, but it looks like the other group did as well, about what resources can we build in West County. Also recognizing, a lot of us recognize that the Board of Education has a lot of land that they have pretty much told us in our last meeting that they aren't using in the next 10 or 20 years. So if the Russet Board of Education land or the Jessup land near the elementary school can be repurposed for a regional park, we should look into that. I think we also talked a lot about the fact that we need to make sure that there are resources for people that are young. We should have parks and that for kids, whether it's a skate park or dirt bike, whatever they're interested in. Families, and then of course older adults. We talked a lot about access and how there's not a lot in West County. There's not a lot of flat trails. There's not a lot of round trails, so you could go walking. Once again, you have to go somewhere else to do that. So, just looking there at kind of that. And then I think we kind of just, in our group, and it looks like the other group as well, talked a lot about equity, because once again, this is a theme we're all bringing up in West County, is if you look at the richer, wider parts of Anne Arundel County, that's where the resources are. Severna Park has the really nice Kinder Farm, Annapolis has Quiet Water, so if you have to go to the richer, wider areas to get the nice resources, versus in West County, we're not seeing that. And that's something that we want to address through this plan, is to make it more equitable, because everybody in Anne Arundel County should have access. And, we in West County are taxpayers and voters as well. So there should be equity in the way that the county is distributing those resources. So I think that was kind of our land use discussion.
No. Yeah. So thank you. I guess basically with regard to water quality and stream restoration, we learned about a lot of different programs that a lot of us didn't know were existed. Eric's whole group and all the stream restoration and the erosion that they monitor. And then these grant programs, and I always say the initials backwards, WSA, okay, the program, talking about, climate change and the origin of water. We've had some ideas of maybe some reclamation of water and using it for other sources. A lot of the older developments don't have the tree canopies that the newer ones do, because it just wasn't a requirement back then. The stream buffers weren't as wide. So trying to incorporate getting programs or ways to increase those buffers and things like that. What else do we have? Oh, and yeah, having local leaders in this area. This area is really missing the WSA, leaders to help with some of these programs in either stream restoration or stormwater management type things. I don't remember that one. Impoundments? What was that? Keisha had brought that up at the very beginning. And stream buffers we talked about. Reforestation. Maintenance was a big issue. And I think we even talked about maintenance over here on the park side. Was just, you do these plantings. Some of them are warranted, but after that, there's nobody to maintain them. Even some of the grant programs, that's the big issue, is not having anybody to come in and take care of them and water them, and how expensive watering can be, and trying to have more programs to address that. I think that was main issues. So. Okay. Anybody? No? Okay.
Very good. So you all can give us feedback afterwards on kind of, you know, how you like these small group discussions. I feel like they're really productive. I think we heard, surfaced a lot of issues, came to a lot of really creative ideas as well. If I could step out on a limb a little bit, I think you actually kind of, from these summaries and the notes we have around the room too, I think we've got enough feedback from you that we could potentially draft some potential recommendations even for the plan document here, like list out what you identified as key challenges and also some of the key ideas. I mean, obviously you've got some really concrete thoughts about properties that could even be reused, some programmatic ideas about you know, restoration and increasing tree canopy that I think could be put into very specific actions in this plan and that hit along your priorities that of course we'll bring back to you to review and revise later, but I think you've given us enough information that we can start to put stuff on paper. Okay. Mark.
So we'll talk about next steps, and then Joe, I'll let you open it up for public comment. But so for next steps, as Mike was alluding to, Carrie and I have been drafting up some challenge and opportunity statements. Just very broad brush. We've shared some of those with you based on our past meetings, just to sort of, again, show you that, you know, that we've been listening. We're trying to sort of capture those and translate those into what will ultimately be those goals, policies, and strategies that are ultimately in the plan. So we'll be doing the same thing right after this meeting and can share, again, those challenges and opportunity statements with you. The other item I do want to mention is we can touch base about how this meeting went. And if you all want to meet again, we can talk about that in a future meeting. But I do have that venue location spreadsheet up on the Google Drive. If you have ideas of additional facilities that we could be using to have these in-person meetings, please go ahead and fill out that form. That would be helpful, just so that, because the idea would be next time we do meet in person, we want to spread this around the county. So right now we are scheduled to meet at the Severin Library for our July 28th meeting. I want to stress that it's July 28th and not our regularly scheduled time of July 21st. So we may be in person, but we need to chat about that a little bit more, about the structure of that meeting and what would work best for that. But again, if we meet next time, please let us know of some additional facilities then throughout the region. Yes. July 28th. Yep. Instead of July 21st. Yep. I guess the other thing that I'll mention here as far as next steps is those feedback maps have now closed for comment, but they are still up on the website so that you can go visit the hub site and you can see what other people had said were certain issues or concerns then throughout the region. So I'll invite you to do that. Carrie. I'm sorry. That's it for those feedback maps. Again, is what we're doing is just trying to collect all the information, trying to identify where the specific areas are that you know, need addressing, and that'll then ultimately be refined and translated into the plan. So, yeah. Carrie, what else am I missing as far as any reminders or next steps? Okay. Joe, I'll pass it over to you.
Looks like, oh, Gary, or did you guys have anything you wanted to add from the public? Or yeah, go, yeah. So we have a few minutes.
Here in person. I served on the Plan 2040 for what was about 2.5 years. So I'm kind of familiar with this stuff. I'm on the board of directors of the Jessup Improvement Association. I'm on the board of directors of the Growth Action Network organization. And I will throw out that I would like to invite you to meet at in Jessup at our community hall. It's about 4 times as the size of this room. So it'd be much easier to hear different groups if you have breakout sessions. You know, you wouldn't be talking over everybody. We do have a lot of very active people in Jessup. It's still hard. I think it was pointed out, Susan was pointing out, trying to get local people in West County. That's been an ongoing problem. A lot of people are frustrated with the process and the system and kind of, what's the use? Nobody listens to what we say. But I can assure you, you would get a lot more people, public, coming to your meetings and at least hearing what's going on and participating. So I would encourage you to consider the Jessup Community Hall as a meeting location. We can handle the crowd, and we have the resources for doing that. I was a little disappointed that I didn't hear more talk about specific issues in Jessup. There's things I was very frustrated when I go to meetings like this and I'm not on the panel or the board. So many questions is like, well, why didn't they ask this question? Nobody thought about that. Nobody didn't. So that gets frustrating for people like me because I've been doing this land use stuff now for about 30 some years. But I would say probe more. I don't know whether we sent out to you a link to the GAN Jessup video, and we sent a link out to the area, this Russet Center. A lot of effort went into that. We're not sure if who all actually looked at it. If you hadn't, it will list a lot of the issues and give you feedback from the Jessup area, from this area, from people who are experts in their area in terms of land use, zoning issues. I mean, collectively, that group of people that produced that video is probably God knows how many years of experience. So please, if you haven't looked at the videos that we sent you, take a look at it. If you have questions, you want more information, contact me, Ellen Moss. Go to the GAN website, and we'd be happy to give you more information. But there's a lot of issues that I think I heard tonight was more concentrating on the Russet Center, which is good. But Jessup, given the plan or the 3122 bill and the pressures over there for massive high density development, we have a lot of issues that I think Region 2 committee should really look into. And I don't think everybody here is as informed as I would like you to be. So be happy to meet with you individually, have you meet with the board of directors of the Improvement Association, or we can even arrange smaller groups from the community to meet with you and give you our feedback. Have you all got feedback from the small meeting that was held down at the Severn Library? Not sure whether you got any feedback from the citizens who attended that meeting. I think there was about a half a dozen people that attended that community outreach. But anyway, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So yeah, I guess the last thing is just, I guess I would just like to informally, for Keisha's sake as well, who does want to meet in person in July? If you're board member, yes, or the 28th? Yeah, it sounds like you have the. Yeah, we had to change there. Is everybody okay if we went virtual as well though? Because we're actually looking at maybe. Is that, the 28th? Yeah. So anybody feel? Yeah, given how tonight went, because we wanted to kind of see like, how do people feel being in person? What would you prefer? And then it's, we're actually now kind of leaning maybe towards going virtual in July. Would that be okay? Or did folks like love this tonight? This was amazing. We definitely want to do this for housing. Yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's tired with virtual meetings like I am.
Yeah.
But everybody's a little more checked out.
Yeah.
On the computer, we have a practice. Here, we're all located in an area.
Yeah.
Not my kitchen. I think it's more productive.
Okay. Okay.
One plus though is more time. Getting here at 6 is impossible for some of us.
Yeah.
That are coming from the district and banging out on the door basically today. So my request would be if we're gonna be in person, please give me till 6:30.
Okay.
6 is fine because I can listen to it on the phone when I'm driving, but you gotta give me till 6:30.
To do in
If you're
person.
gonna do it in person.
Okay.
6 is impossible. I can be there 4:30, not be there. Which is what happened.
Well, I think that's kind of like the other thing we tried tonight. And I guess we'll reach back out to Guernica because I think Guernica has been on Zoom, but I don't know how great of a experience this was for her.
Well, I didn't get to see a lot of things and participate up close, but I would honestly, we're gonna have
Gotcha.
one of these sessions. I'd like to do it in person.
With everybody. So
Gotcha.
instead of doing presentations.
Okay.
So that's something that can help, but Mark and I will take that back to the feedback I heard about it's challenging here, challenging to get around time. People got a collaboration with others, so we will do all that.
Okay. Great.
So that we might be able to listen from home.
Yeah, so I will say that Keisha will chair our next meeting graciously because that is right when I'm expecting a baby. So I definitely don't want, yeah, so I will be focused on that. So Keisha will definitely be in great hands there. So, but I know that it'll be really, and I also know that there's a lot, we know there's a lot of interest on affordable housing, and that's really critical to what we're doing. So this will likely not be the only meeting. We will very likely may have to have presentations and then have another meeting like this to talk about housing and affordable housing, just because I think it's such a great, important issue. So don't feel like we only have one bite at the apple on that. We can always have another meeting and bring back that issue. So. When we've gone through the calendar a little while ago, we had talked like starting in November-ish to start having possibly 2 a month. So, yeah. For next month? Yeah, do we know how many people we have yet for affordable housing, or we're still working on speakers?
So right now, the tentative schedule said also Metropolitan Council and the presentation, giving like a regional, an overview of issues and regions that they're having. We're gonna have someone from Elm Street Community giving a overview of kind of the real world market conditions for developing market rate and affordable housing. Arundel Community Development Services will be there. They are the nonprofit development arm of the county that is charged with supporting the direction of housing for low and very low income people, as well as for people in workforce housing. That's what they work. And then we're going to have our likely someone from our office of planning and zoning there to give some additional information about adequate public facilities and the relationship between that and development, and the obviously those development together. Is that? Yeah.
So Elm Street Development is giving a presentation.
We're gonna have Karen McDuncan from Elm Street there to offer information about that. Yep.
But they have a developer on the street, so it's a conflict of interest. It's not a conflict of interest. I mean, she's been doing this for many, many years, very well respected in the field, and she's going to specifically talk about market rate housing, because that is different than affordable housing, which the market cannot produce. And I mean, I personally have been here about 20 years, and I think she did a fantastic job bringing that perspective. And specifically asked Karen instead of the members of on together, like they're not here today. Just she's high level in that Elm Street, and I think the director and I both thought that she would be very good to do this. She's going to do it for all 3 of the region plans.
She's a home builder in
Yeah.
the community that knows the challenges firsthand, whether we agree with it or not.
Yeah.
That's fine. But she'll talk about what all the different residential developers are going to build, and it'll just offer a different perspective on that.
I'm just saying the company in and of itself who has a developer on this board. It's not just information.
Right, they're not saying we zone her property because of that presentation, she said, hey, these are the challenges, here's the
Right,
market,
but
here's
then-
what developers think, because I think we probably want more residential housing near some of the growth centers, and understanding what those pressures are under might make you think a little differently, might not.
Okay, but later on in the process, we would actually have to become before us for certain plans. Well, nothing is ever come before you for a family planning. This is a completely good, this community, they can really make recommendations. We're not going to be looking at, now, we are going to look at government, but we're going to make recommendations on that. I mean, Thomas over here could end up with a property that comes, that's being considered for retail. No, it's not just client. It's,
There may be property owners also, it's committee that
Right.
have vested interest in this as well.
Yeah.
The county is set up for that.
I got a big vested interest.
Well, the county is set up for that. I mean, to go, there's a process for that.
Yeah.
You gotta prove different points.
Well, I think, just to add my 2 cents to it. I mean, I actually, I see where Nicole's coming from, and I think that as staff, you really need to be aware of this. And I think it's very important that you gave the point that this person's going to be at the other region meetings. But from an optics standpoint, that should be made more obvious, just so that way, because I can see how a member of the public could say, well, that's really weird that you're having the corporation where you have someone on the board. And I'm just thinking from an ethics standpoint, the fact that Nicole brought, she's not going to be the, I mean, I think having that fact that they're going to be in other region plans is very helpful information to know that it's going to be kind of the same presentation and not specific to this area. So I just think staff, you should know that when we bring things up like that, to not be so defensive with us. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't appreciate your defensive tone on this, because we're trying to tell, where we're coming from. And, we need to be consulted on this as well. So, I mean, I think your point's well taken, but we're just bringing this up because believe me, if we're bringing it up, other folks that are also watching what we're doing are going to bring this up. So that's helpful to know that this person.
Absolutely, but I mean, do you understand my point where I'm coming from? I'm on this committee to represent the area where I live, 2 citizens of which sit behind me, right? And you have to see where I'm coming from. And we all have to sign a conflict of interest statement, right? And so one of the first questions I asked in the opening meeting was, if you have a conflict of interest or you perceive a conflict of interest, someone would need to bow themselves out. So here we are, 4 meetings in, and you have someone from the same development company presenting to us. You see what I'm saying? So you can see where my spidey senses are already going off 4 meetings in to this committee. Well, I think that role was to bring a well-rounded presentation related to housing. I mean, starting with demographics, coming from Baltimore Metropolitan Council of Government. Market rate, how does development happen at the market level? We are starting to that, have a PDF coming. And then we're going to talk about aspects of public facilities and how that can be a governor on where development happens if you don't have that. So I do think it is going to be well-rounded, and it's information. You have a number of people here on the committee that do represent interest, but they are also key resources as far as what ultimate recommendations that will happen. I feel like maybe if the position is a little more up than them, and I don't think it should be that way, because I do think, and you all have a very diverse SAC where it fits in as well as business people. But that was, I think that's a fabulous opportunity for you all, because you get a lot of different people. We'd really like to see the missing middle lecture regarding the missing middle housing.
So missing middle is going to be a big topic of this conversation. It's not something that we're looking for. We'll have the experts in the community have experience of developing policy from a middle, or they have knowledge of research of the sort to support technical policy. That's what's happening.
There was a very specific lecture that occurred.
Yeah, the
regarding-
Dan Pearl lecture.
Yeah.
We were there.
And some
So,
of those other representatives were also.
and actually,
Mark,
Mark was there, and we bring all that knowledge to.
so somebody is gonna give a specific presentation on that, or?
It's more gonna be a resource that we give you, that the county's been researching missing middle and sort of where the policy gaps are, and what types of, what missing middle means, so that all of their operating vocabulary. So we research for you to do and to read, but we're getting you to research rather, and that will be like the topic that we can address during our breakout. So again, there's gonna be 4 presentations. The generalized like Q&A like this with one group, you have the chance to talk to all of the housing policy folks, parents who are there to offer that side. And then we'll break out into groups to talk about individual housing or affordable housing and what kind of our options are for potential development that you all want to advocate for.
Did you also say somebody over the Karen? Or development group or?
APDF,
Yes.
support that.
And they'll talk about, yes, from that, this, housing, I think, the affordable housing, from that perspective. Karen's gonna talk about market. You got, like, rounds of the perspective, right?
But what I hear you saying also is that you were very interested in that, and so we can make sure that
Yeah, as we talked, when we went on the driving tour, we specifically requested something regarding that in the middle lecture.
Yeah.
At least in our group, we
Mhm.
specifically have requested.
So there's a lot of ground to cover with housing, right? So again, we're really looking to set the stage with the kind of demographic research overview, provide an understanding of what it takes to get kind of market rate housing in these areas. Talk to about the tools that are available from the county perspective for building housing for low and very low income communities. Any kind of gaps that might be there with like land use and our housing policy. And then we're gonna talk about agricultural. That's a lot. After
Yeah.
that, we can talk about affordable housing, and after that, to Bill's point, maybe this will be a topic. that-
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have another meeting. I think,
We're
pretty,
already
yeah,
talking about it.
yeah, we'll just have a follow-up meeting. Yeah.
I just want to make sure you know that, if that's the interest of the committee has, you can decide one thing to do later, but we want to get like a playing time that a lot of this talks about.
Yeah, that makes really good sense. Okay. Great. That's that. All right. Motion to adjourn. Nicole? Marilyn? All right, great. All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, everyone.